I'm going to call to order this organizational meeting for the Plain Township Board of Trustees for Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. If everybody will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before us, we have our agenda as presented. Lisa, are there any other additions, deletions, or corrections based upon the organizational?
No, just all that is on the agenda is it.
Okay, the agenda will stand as presented. First item is election of officers.
I'd like to nominate John Sabo for president.
Second, discussion.
So, well, I appreciate that nomination, but I was looking back at, and we have no rhyme nor reason to how we've actually nominated people or how we have actually filled these offices, but we've kind of consistently done a 2-year rotation. I don't know if we want to stick to that. As far as the offices go, I'm okay either way, but
so I guess, John, as part of the motion, you can decline it, you can accept it, whatever your preference is. I know you did it 2 years. I've done it this year.
Yeah, I did it 2 years as president. I would probably rather stick to vice president. I think to do this correctly, though, and officially, we would have to eliminate either the motion or the second. Would that be correct, Eric?
Well, did somebody second?
I had seconded to bring it to discussion. So essentially,
yeah, I think you need to vote on it.
Okay. So we'll do a roll call then.
Mr. Hawes?
I'm voting no, and that's strictly based upon Mr. Sabo's response of preferring not to this year.
Mr. Sabo?
And I would also vote no, just to stick to that logic.
Mrs. Harless?
I would say yes. Looking back from January 20 to January 2008, and it seemed that
Brooke,
a few years
Brooke, it's strictly a vote. Discussion.
Oh yeah, no. Thank you for the clarification, Scott. Yep. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Tom, is that it?
That's it, yep.
Okay, so based on that, then I would move that we elect Scott Haas president.
I'll second that myself. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
No.
Okay. Motion passes. Next up, election of officers, vice president, and I will nominate John Sabo.
I will second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
No.
Okay, that takes us to the beginning of year resolutions. First one is Robert's Rules of Order. I will so move on beginning of year resolution number 3.
I will second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
No.
Moving forward, the next one is beginning year resolution number 4, Board of Trustees meeting. This essentially sets it for, maintains it at the second and fourth Tuesday of every month.
I will move on beginning of the year resolution number 4.
We'll second. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next up is beginning of year resolution number 5, retaining employees, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next item is beginning of year resolution 6, work rules and policies. I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next one, beginning of year resolutions, holidays, number 7.
I will move on beginning of the year number 7.
Second, discussion. These mirror the historical ones that state has designated. Correct, Lisa? Based
Yeah,
on
and then
Ohio
we
Revised
may,
Code.
Supposed to add Christmas Eve?
No, that's a conditional consideration we give on a year-to-year basis, and actually given that Christmas is being observed on that day is being recognized or observed on Christmas Eve, staff will already have Christmas Eve off this year since it fell on a weekend. Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Beginning year resolution number 8, mutual aid. I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next, beginning of year resolution number 9, coordination of fire and law enforcement agencies. I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Okay. Beginning of year resolution number 10. I'll read this one out because there's a couple to fill in, and this has to do with the Volunteer Firefighters Board. Be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to appoint Scott Hawes as chairman and board member. And who did we use last year? John or Brooke? Whether you have a preference?
I can be a member if Brooke wants to be chairman.
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and John Sabo. Oh, actually, both of these would be.
Yeah, there's 2
And
spots.
John Sabo and Brooke Harless as board members for Plain Township on the Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Fund Board.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next, beginning of year resolution number 11, designee, and this is to designate Lisa Campbell as the official designee for the Board of Trustees for Public Records Training. I
will second then.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Okay, the next one is beginning of year resolution number 12, Stark Council of Governments. Currently, I'm the appointee. I've served on that for, I think, the last 8 or 9 years. Lisa, do you recall who we have as an alternate?
It's been John the last 6 years.
Okay.
Or I mean, sorry, 5 years.
Do you have any interest?
Yes, I do. I think it should be rotated out either with John or myself as the designee, just so we can learn and get better communicated with and wrapped around everything.
You're aware that the SCOG meetings are always open. This has to do with the appointment. So the ability to learn and sit in on them isn't designated just simply by this, for clarity.
I know.
So
Yeah, and I'm okay to not be on this because,
Okay.
like you say, I can still watch them or
Right.
go to them anyhow. So I'm okay.
Well, and I'll make the motion be hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to appoint me as the representative to SCOG and to appoint Brooke as the alternate representative for 2021.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
No.
Next up is beginning of year resolution number 13, requesting advanced tax, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next is beginning of year resolution number 14, Stark hazardous response, and I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next is beginning of year resolution number 15, zoning fees. Essentially, this is the waiving of zoning fees for other governmental agencies and political subdivisions.
I will move on beginning of the year number 15.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Can someone please mute their background noise? It's making it a little bit hard to hear.
Why does that sound like Eric Haynes? Or is it
He's
me?
got the other meeting on. He needs to mute.
Eric Haynes. There we go.
Yes. Thank you.
Zoning fees, okay. That takes us to beginning of year resolution number 16, Gov Deals Unwanted Assets. I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next is beginning of year resolution number 17, Computech for providing server monitor maintenance and tier 2 support.
I will move on beginning of the year number 17.
Second. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Beginning of year resolution number 18, transfer of funds between meetings. I will so move.
And I will second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next item is beginning of year resolution 19, sale of scrap metal.
And I will move on beginning of the year resolution number 19.
Second. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Brings us to beginning of year resolution number 20, prevailing wage coordinator, and that's to designate Lisa Campbell as the prevailing wage coordinator for Plain Township. I will so move.
And I will second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Next is beginning of year resolution 21, insurance benefits. I will so move.
And I will second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Okay, next is beginning of year resolution tax incentive review council, whereas Plain Township currently is a participant in the enterprise zone with other jurisdictions, and whereas the Ohio Revised Code requires the tax incentive review council to organize and review existing tax incentive agreements and recommend changes to the Ohio Department of Development, and whereas 2 members are required to be appointed from each township within the zone now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, that Scott Hawes and John Sabo be appointed to represent Plain Township on the Tax Incentive Review Council, and be it further resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to appoint Lisa Campbell as alternate member to the Tax Incentive Review Council.
Actually, if I am, actually Brooke can serve on that. I'm okay with that.
I'll reword the paragraph. Therefore, be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, that Scott Hawes and Brooke Harless be appointed to represent Plain Township on the Tax Incentive Review Council.
And I'll second that.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
No.
Next item, adjournment. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn at 6:17 p.m.
I will second it. We almost beat our record.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.